What is good, everyone? It's the one and only Brotherhood Healing. And in today's video, I want to say the lesson of the, the day is you never gain the full idea of what happens in anyone's life. Um, so what I mean by that is I was talking with someone that or really just talking to someone that I've worked with for a couple years, and she let me listen in onto a phone call with someone else that I've worked with, and pretty much in that conversation, I would hear a lot of the stuff that I did, or like I said, just all the bad things that I've done, really, and not to not to take away. Like I said, I accept everything wrong that I've done, but a lot of times what happens is a lot of those bad deeds, they with those bad deeds, like I said, with all the bad things that the person over the phone mentioned, you would think that I was just a bad person, honestly. But most people tend to forget to give a full entire story. Now, I'm not going to get into what other said person has done because that doesn't evolve me into a greater person spilling secrets or spilling ill mannerisms of the other person. But like I said, a lot of times you're always going to be the villain in someone's story as long as you let them tell it. You know what I mean? And sometimes you've just got to be okay with that until the person who thinks that you're the villain confronts you and says, why this or why that? Why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? And a lot of times that person will never ask you why because they know why. A lot of times most people will play a victim role whenever someone who's always seen as conventionally good or moral, they'll paint them as the person that was actually crazy. But that's just how life works, honestly. And would I consider myself conventionally good or moral? No. I feel as though we all have good and bad capabilities in all of us. No one's inherently good, no one's inherently bad. So when you carry that mindset, I believe that it helps you to really enjoy the human experience. When you don't think of yourself as one thing or the other, you really get to fully experience life for its entirety. So, like I said, when they were on the conversation, like they would talk about, they would say things like, really say things that like are really bold, like making bold accusations as if they knew me or they knew my life story. And like I said, they had they had bits and pieces correct, but that's the thing. It's only bits and pieces of the entire puzzle. So like I said, a lot of times people will paint you in a bad light just because you no longer fit their mold or you no longer fit into their idea of what you are or who you are, what you're supposed to be. Once you don't do that, you're now a foreign entity. And sometimes with human nature, anything that's foreign is automatically evil. So, like I said, whenever you're painted in an evil light, sometimes you have to see that in the aspect of it being a good thing because that means you're growing and you're evolving. Into what? That's ultimately your decision. But like I said, sometimes when you are growing and you're moving into different spaces, sometimes some people are just not able to handle where you're getting ready to go. So sometimes God, universe, whatever it is that you believe, will step into that space for you and clear people out. Just so you can see the full spectrum of everything. And then you gain clarity. Like I said, a lot of times people don't care for what you do or how you do things. And I remember I actually had a dream. It's funny how it's like everything's coming full circle. I had a dream about this where, like I said, just there was certain people, like for example, I think in the dream it was like it was a TV screen, and it was a TV screen about all these people that knew me, and each one told a story and said what they thought of me, how they thought of me, and who I really was in their minds. And none of them were accurate. Or not even that. Some of them were accurate, but with a piece. Like everyone you meet will only know a piece of you, because sometimes that little piece is just enough for them to make a connection with you. That's all most people care about, is making a connection. So they don't care to know the full spectrum of you. They only want to know the piece. So, like I said, today's lesson, I would honestly say, is just people never know the full story. It's only a piece. But you are more than just a piece. You are the whole puzzle. You're just a piece in someone else's story. Whether it be a piece that fits or a piece that doesn't, is ultimately up to the other person. You can't control how they feel about you as a piece. You can only control how they fit in your story as a piece. So that's the word for the day. Hope everyone has a beautiful, beautiful day. If you're seeing this, have a beautiful day, beautiful night, beautiful evening, beautiful dawn, whatever time of day it is. Just make it a beautiful one, or make it make it the best, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent. Just make it the best day. All right. And that ends the video. Peace, love, light. If you like what I'm saying, like, comment, subscribe, all that. And I'll see you all in the next video.